The flock was less active than usual when we opened the flaps this morning. There was less stretching, less hopping, less of the quick morning energy we have grown used to. Peanut was the first one I noticed lying low on the ground, moving very little and quietly tending to her feathers. Soon Jujube was doing much the same. They looked almost lazy, or perhaps simply subdued. It worried us at once. Were they ill? Had they not slept well? Or was something else going on? As we kept watching, it seemed that the whole flock was quieter than usual, lingering low and moving slowly. Even breakfast did not excite them in the way it normally does. That too felt unusual. Maybe it was the weather. The morning was gloomy, and they had woken very early, before 6 a.m. Later I put the perches back in, and that brought a little more movement into the box as they jumped up one by one. For a moment, 4 of them were perched there quietly, while Soybean remained below, looking up at them. I could not tell whether there was simply not enough room for her, or whether she had chosen to stay where she was. I do know that the chicks are growing, and that both the box and the perches are feeling smaller and smaller for them. Still, we often see them perch, side by side, and look quite comfortable in that close arrangement, as if nearness itself is part of what they enjoy. I thought perhaps they felt a little chilly, and that this might explain their low energy, so I turned on the heating blanket at its lowest setting to warm the brooder a little. My mother had another theory. Perhaps they were complaining that we had not yet brought them back to the bigger world where they had had so much fun yesterday. Whatever the reason, it was an unusually quiet morning. And of course everything changed once they returned to the chicken run. The moment they were back outside, they seemed to come fully alive again, hopping, chasing, jumping, digging, scratching, dust bathing. It was a great relief. I'm beginning to think that these creatures always long for the bigger world. Now, whenever we approach the chicken run, they become visibly excited. They rush toward the fence and wait for the door to open. Some of them are always ready to dart out if given the chance, which makes even simple tasks like changing water more complicated than before. We usually need 2 people, my wife and I, watching them closely to keep anyone from slipping past us and making a run for freedom. And yet this afternoon something different happened. When my mother walked over to feed them, they seemed to recognize her approach and followed her eagerly from inside the fence. She used her calling voice, a familiar little melody she used decades ago when she raised chickens. And when she opened the door and filled the feeder with her homemade mixture, egg yolk, cooked beets, fresh purslane, oatmeal, and soaked crushed rice, they all rushed to the food. Not one of them tried to escape. That was quite a difference. My mother said they liked her homemade feed better than the commercial feed I had bought. Maybe. I am not entirely sure whether it was her calling melody or the feed itself. Perhaps it was both. These chicks certainly seem to respond to each of us a little differently. And that too is something we are still learning. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful or inspiring, please give it a like, share, subscribe, and tell me what you're growing in the comments. See you next time in the garden.